The Always Milan Faces podcast is now sponsored by Tyre Spot, the Northeast's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode. Welcome back to the Always Milan Faces podcast on the GallowgateShots YouTube channel. It's a full house again. It's myself joined by Bestie, Decker, and Mark. Who was going to miss this occasion? Yeah, Decker,
definitely not me.
Say the magic words. Not 8 times, just once will do.
Well, won you now.
Yeah. Well, that came out of nowhere, didn't it?
2 weeks of running.
Came out of absolutely nowhere, and what a week it's been for Newcastle United. Shall we just chuck everything in at once rather than just go back to the it would be the Milan game, which we haven't covered yet? Then obviously
like a Pan Haggerty.
With what 30 seconds in, we're talking about food already.
Is there an L? It's not Pan Haggerty.
Pan Haggerty?
Haggerty?
Pan Haggerty?
Pan Haggerty.
It doesn't matter. But Newcastle United have scored 8 goals against Sheffield United, so we'll just start there. Obviously, we'll touch on Champions League a little bit later on in the show. Decker, like I said, came out of nowhere, didn't it?
Oh, I mean, nobody expected that. You know, I was I wouldn't say I was nervous before the game. I wouldn't say I was nervous, but I was very much. I was wanting to see the performance of the Newcastle that I know, and I've sat here for weeks and complained I haven't seen it. You know, other than the Villa game, and that doesn't mean you've got to go and smash a team. By the way, I'm not expecting to win 4 and 5-0 or 8, like, you know. But what I mean by that is just the performance, right? Where's that intensity? Where's that aggression? Where's that? Well, intensity, I think, is the word. It's not speed. Do you know what I mean? I just hadn't seen it for weeks. And then
I'll tell you where it wasn't. Bramall Lane for the first 10, 15 minutes.
I was going to say, even
15
minutes into the game yesterday, you wouldn't have said it was going to.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. I thought we'll look gettable again and sloppy at times. And again, I was like, it's much of a muchness here. Like, it's the same as I've seen the last few weeks. And then all of a sudden, obviously, and I think we'll come on to it, there was a certain change that was forced upon me. Really, really opened the game up. And it was a game-changing thing for us, in my opinion. But unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Sheffield United were dreadful, but I'm not going to take that away from us. Like, we were absolutely superb.
I've listened to a few things of even our own fans saying, but Sheffield United are shite. Well, they're not great. Like, there's no arguing against that. But let's be honest, they've been in every single game that they played so far this season. They've put up contests against Spurs and Man City.
That's right.
We just go and absolutely batter them. 8-0, man. That's credit on us. That
100%. It's very unfair. I text one of my mates, right? He's a Mackham, like, and obviously he was whinging saying, "Hey, we had all the ball and we got beat." And then I messaged, "Oh, we're 4, it's fine." And then he texts, "But you were playing a bunch of farmers." And I replied back, "No, you were playing the farmers, mate." Like, people forget that they were 1-0 up in the 90th minute against Spurs away, right? Who were doing very, very well. Mm-hmm. And they took Man City pretty much all the way. I'm not saying Man City battered them, possession-wise and stuff, which they would. But you can't, like. They've been in, as you've mentioned, they've been in every single game they've played, and we've just absolutely blown them away. You know, and of course, I mean, you know, there's lots of errors and issues on their side, but I certainly think it's very, very harsh to just say, "Oh, then we're shitting we." You know what I mean? That's awful to say that. I think
you've still got to capitalise on how poor the opposition are.
Man, they really, really, really were poor.
Yeah,
they've got that first 20 minutes, as you say, they have a couple of chances where the ball's come from the right hand side, and the lad at the back post, I don't know his name, but he's one with Trippier.
I'm not sure if he knew his name by the end of the game.
Trippier brought one, and then he said, "Can I shank one wide?" But then the chances, Wilson should have had 3 or 4 in the first half.
Yeah, could have been 12. Right,
could have had a penalty. That lad could have been sent off for the foul on Longstaff. But then the first one was weird because it was did it go over the line or not? And obviously it hit Gordon's hand as well, didn't it? So apparently, because it wasn't intentional and he wasn't the bloke who scored the goal, I think that's the rule now.
It is a rule, yeah.
It was fine.
That's right.
And he did really well to keep it in. Again, Gordon kind of chasing it down and getting past his man. And
yeah, let's just go through a couple of goals. Well, let's go through all 8, really. So starting off, obviously, it's like you just said, Bessie. It's that passage of play where Gordon keeps the ball in. no doubt about that. Really, I think looking at the angles, I think
certainly
it keeps
does,
it
yeah,
in. Keeps it in. If you're looking at that from the angle from above, which we can't see, it's 100% in. That's still in play. But then obviously the ball bounces up and hits his hands. Hits his right hand, and a lot of the things which we've been hearing on the likes of Sky Sports and this referee watches that Anthony Gordon keeps the ball in play with his hand, when really it's the opposite.
If anything,
yeah,
he's knocking it
it's
further
going
out
Yeah.
with his
hands
hand.
made it more difficult to keep the ball.
It does, and Gordon does really well there, and for Longstaff to get his goal as well, Mark. And I think he said in his post-match interview as well that Trippier's constantly telling him to get in the box more, and that's why.
Yeah, I mean he's not really known as a goal scoring midfielder, is he? So
Eddie Howe said he is.
Eddie Howe said he wants to be, yeah.
He wants to be based on the position that he's playing him in and stuff like that. And I think when he does have shots, it tends to be from a bit of range. He isn't.
That's Gallowgate.
into
That's the
box.
problem.
Yeah, there's that as well. But yeah, I mean, overall, I thought he was tremendous yesterday for me.
He was excellent.
He was absolutely everywhere. But it was just nice to see him get a goal. He took it well. And had another good few chances through the game as well, as we got later on into it.
The first thing he did when he gets to Gordon was ask him if he kept it in as well.
He wasn't sure, was he?
Because someone else did. I forget who it was there. I don't be Share or Trippier, and you can see Gordon going, "No, let's say it in."
Longstaff, it was a wonderful finish. It was
Really
beautiful.
good finish,
with his weaker foot as well. He does kind of like look around every direction, going, "Is that out?"
He looked
Is
at
that
the
offside?
referee first, didn't he?
Yeah. But I think, do you know Southampton in the semi-finals of the cup? No, it was the semi-finals, wasn't it?
Yeah, when he got
At
the two.
home.
And at home, and he got 2 goals. Coming into the box late and arriving late and stuff like that. And obviously, that instance and that goal there. And I can understand now how maybe think he's got the attributes to do that. We just haven't seen it regularly, right? That's what I would say. But I thought he was the best player for us against Milan. Personally, I thought he was best midfielder, certainly.
Yeah.
Trips was pretty best.
Yeah, best player midfield. Because I know that this midfield thing, we're talking about it every week, right? Because it's the topic of conversation. I thought he was the best midweek, and I thought he was tremendous yesterday, like tremendous on and off the ball. Obviously, his work rate's never in question, but I just feel like what I would say about him now, what I'm noticing, he's more and more involved in the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He's not just working hard and breaking up the play. I find that he's starting to make moves happen. He's getting involved more. He always makes this lovely run, and this is how we had this triangle business going on last season, where he'll burst forward without the ball. I mean, off the ball, he'll run to the right hand side into the corner, and he did that loads yesterday again as well. And I don't know, he's maybe just proven how important he is in the midfield. Which I have no doubt there'll be questions about. Can Tonali and Bruno play again? It'll come. It's gonna come. But
Yeah,
no, that Longstaff's been brilliant.
So, do you know what we should have really touched on beforehand? Is obviously the change that comes. First of all, is Barnes goes off what looks to be a serious injury. Really, the rumors are.
But he's hurt his toe. How serious can it be if you hurt your toe?
Well, if you're a footballer, you tend to.
it's one of the
It's on
most
your
important.
foot.
It's not Maxi that got in. It's Barnes that got in. So not Maxi.
It's one of the most important
It's
parts
all
of
right.
a footballer's body, really.
The worrying thing for me is that we had a player that
Hang on a
hurt
second.
the
Hang
toe
on. Let's
a while
go back.
ago.
Let's go back. So, a professional footballer has injured the toe, right? Part of the foot.
Aye.
You were literally arguing with me the other day about Dan Burn being a defender, so he needs to defend. Surely, if you're a footballer, you need your foot.
If a goalkeeper breaks his finger, that's a bit of a thing, isn't it? Like,
Aye, it is, but like surely it kind of keep you out long term unless you've like I don't know,
Marcelino's out.
severed his toe or
I
something
think
like that.
Marcelino's
Or,
still out, isn't he?
well, that's what I was just going to say. That's the worrying thing. The last person I can remember having a toe issue was him, and he never played ever again.
That was a
Paul Scholes had
finger.
a toe thing.
But Marcelino was a finger.
Was it
He
finger,
definitely had a
maybe?
toe.
It was
He definitely
finger?
had a toe injury.
Who?
Marcelino was a
Marcelino.
finger.
There's a couple of comments saying it was a toe injury.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100% a finger. I think.
Dave Besant, I can
It was a
remember he
finger,
dropped a tin of beans out of his cupboard and he tried to control it and he
Salad cream.
broke his toe. Salad cream, that would be too late, wouldn't it?
Well,
John's stomach heavy.
Anyway,
Salad cream's
anyway,
everything.
hang on.
Like coronation milk, that's like thick. Evaporated milk, that's proper thick and heavy.
That's
That is.
evaporated. No, it's Guinness.
We've gone off. But anyway, Harvey Barnes, it does seem like it is a serious injury, whether or not Dr. Walker
No.
agrees or not.
He's cracked his toenail.
But
Hurts,
Anthony Gordon comes on, and honestly, different animal this season. That kid, like you can't see why we spent 40 million on him.
Changes the game.
Absolutely, yeah, he does.
So direct, man. And I repeat myself, but I love direct players. And here you will just run at you. That fullback must have hated when. See, Barnes is a totally different player, isn't he? And I'm not saying this doesn't mean Barnes is a bad player. What I'm trying to say is Barnes much more. How can I say it? He's not anywhere near this player, but bear with us. You know, like Grealish, where Grealish will play out wide and he'll get the ball, but he slows it down. Does that make sense? I find
Barnes is like
Barnes.
give and go, isn't he? Like,
Aye, do you know what I mean? You slow down a bit,
He
he'll
said
do it.
himself he likes to play a little one,
Yeah.
twos
Aye.
rather than just.
Whereas
carry the
Gordon
ball.
will just turn and just get at you. And I love that type of player.
yeah. Gordon's more like the fella that we used to have on that side.
Ginola.
My mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lauren Robert.
Robert.
And that's why I love
Yeah.
Gordon. That's why I absolutely love Gordon,
Yeah.
because you've got he's so young as well, man. But he just gets it done as well. You know what I mean? And he's really trying his best, even when things don't come off. It's you cannot get past your fullback every single time you get the ball. We're not expecting that, but he will try and get past the fullback every single time he gets the
He's
ball.
been a player of the season for me so far.
100%. 100%.
The big difference between the pair of them is the pace. Though Gordon can do that, just knock the ball and go because he's rapid.
Have you seen when he comes inside quickly? I mentioned this a few weeks ago about him. Say, but Byrne will play the ball to him, right? And he comes inside and he's back to goal at this moment down the line. He comes inside and then he'll spray it out wide or into the middle. He can't defend against that. Like, you cannot physically get touch tight to him. He's so amazing with his first touch to come inside. And then if you, as a defender, if you give him too much room, he'll then turn on you and then you're in big trouble.
Yeah,
because he's running at you. So
He's such an aggressive player though, as well, isn't he? Like, he just seems angry when he's playing football, and that's what I want to say.
Yeah. That's probably why we hated him until we signed him.
He's an angry footballer, which works for him because it just looks like he constantly has a point to prove. That's what it looks like, and probably even more so at the weekend against Sheffield there, because he didn't start. He was on the bench, so he's pretty pissed off with that as well.
Yeah.
Then coming on
I
and
think that was more so the games though that we've got to play.
No, I get that.
3 games in a week.
But I bet you he wants to play every single game. He's that sort of player.
I mean, Callum Wilson said as much, didn't he? In his interview with us Ferdinand afterwards, he says, like, as I said, he played against Milan, he's starting games, he's scoring goals, he scored something like 17 and 19, Wilson. I think that's a stat. And he didn't start against Milan midweek. And it's like, he must be thinking, what have I got to do? But then
he could have had 17 and 19 minutes yesterday, couldn't he? I'm joking.
He should have done it.
He'd be so annoyed at himself.
Well, again, he was after the game.
During that same interview, he said a few times, I should have had more.
I tell you what, it was very, we did, even though the first 15, 20 minutes was a bit shaky at times, I think we've covered that, is that game plan of, he knew early doors that he was in almost every single time we wanted him to be in. We were playing that ball through to him, and he was just seemed to be.
Well, as soon as he came on, he basically got the fullback booked. And that was it. That just opened the floodgates. That just get at him, because he cannot defend. He cannot risk a foul on you because he knows he's going to be off.
I was thinking that we struggle more against teams that are tight. What Liverpool did when they had Van Dijk sent off, and they just went dead compact. Whereas Sheffield, I thought
they would actually play like that more than they did.
I think up until the point where we scored, that might have been the case. But when we score, they go, well, we've got to try and get something now. You can't just sit and stay tight for an hour, then try and overcome it. You know, it can, but it wouldn't be a good idea. So then
wait for a few teams against us.
I know, but it opens up straight away, and that's when I think we're at our best. When we're ahead, we've got a bit of space in behind, and that's what Wilson got in loads of times. There was one where I forget who played him through.
Were you shocked though how much time we're given? They didn't learn after the second or third, and they just kept on doing it
in the Premier League. And I'll go to Wilson's goal actually. It was a great ball out by.
We're skipping one here.
Well, no, we'll come back. Don't worry. We'll skip 2 actually.
It's not like us to stick to anything, is it?
But talking about Wilson, then the space that we had, it was a lush ball to Trippier by Shea, just out the kind of timed it perfectly. Miggy stepped out of the way and all that. Trippier, it's a great ball, but Wilson's got there's not a defender anywhere near him. But it's a
first
lush
time ball
goal
from Trippier as well.
Oh yeah, I didn't
take
a touch
straight in.
But that's the quality he's got the winner. But yeah, Wilson was just he'd have been dreaming about a chance like that.
They were getting themselves in a lot of trouble as well, because they were trying to play out from the back at times, and the passes maybe just weren't making it to their player, and we were then picking it up. But again, that's us pressing from the front, right, and chasing them down, which is what I love to see. And
a couple of goals came from the last one was Davis heading it back, and Isaac can't go and have that.
Aye, yeah,
that was happened a couple of times that way. They played a really bad ball.
Diabolical when he came on.
I thought he was a good little player at Everton as well. You know, when he first came
through, there was at least two, possibly 3 of the goals after he came on with his doing.
Let's jump right the way back then. Right the way back the first half. Dan Burn gets a second.
Class.
This is something which has been screened out from Dan Burn, isn't it? In regards
well, even before that, they were whinging on that shouldn't have been a corner for the goal.
Yeah, I'm not going to concern all that crap.
It's a handball, didn't I? So that half time, we'll say it was a his hands are like,
yeah.
He's like a
So yeah, the ball goes out, and there's a shot at goal, and Fabian Shaw is standing 6-yard box, hands by his side, and
he's got it tucked in actually.
Yeah, and on ref watch, I think it was saying that he's got time to move his hand or something. It might not be ref watch, just something else. So he's got time to move out the way. No, he doesn't. Right, not at all. His arms are tucked in. It's the same. If that was a defender and the ball hits off him with his arms out, that's not a penalty, right? So
yeah, definitely.
Goes out for a corner, and it's Dan Burn. I think we've been saying for quite a while now, Dan Burn needs to do better in these sort of positions from an attacking point of view. He's great at clearing the ball in his own box, but when it comes, defensive headers don't count.
Do if you're a defender, not a striker. Not a striker.
The new listeners and watchers will have no idea what that means. But yeah,
Very much
defensive
an
headers do not count. But yeah, Dan Burn, it's a great header. It really is, Mark. And like we said, it's about time he starts getting on the score sheet in those
We
positions.
actually saw a bit of innovation from O'Connor's yesterday.
We're complaining
we
about
haven't
this last
seen
week, weren't we?
in quite a while.
been
There
listening,
was
I
a
think.
good bit of variety.
It was a lovely one for was it Miggy that had the shot? Maybe someone Trippier went short and then
They would played it
Yeah,
like and then squared it, didn't
it
they?
was a lovely move that.
Because
Yeah.
he came from deep, didn't he? Came from the far post.
But listen, I've said this for weeks, and everyone agrees. Obviously, that you got Trippier, who's a hell of a dead ball.
Obviously.
Well, they will, because it's what I'm going to say is obvious. But you've got Trippier, who's
I'm not sure. Like
well, you might not. Is quality from set pieces, or you expect him to be most of the time.
Yeah.
You've got the biggest two centre halves in world football.
Yeah.
You've literally got two Dragos, right? How lads? Let's have a header on target here,
Yeah.
and we never seem to cause anyone any trouble.
Yeah.
And then everything seemed to click again yesterday.
What was class for Burns' goal, and I saw Kev, was it Kev Lawson, Edit Kev on Twitter, I mentioned this earlier, was how the shape got used. Because as Burn kind of peels off out in the back,
peels around the back stick,
Shea
doesn't he?
just kind of edges into his man. So all of a sudden, Burns gone from being behind the man, and the Shea's become an obstacle, so it kind of turns him around. So Dan Burns then gone goal side.
Mind you, Dan Burn did amazing because that lad had his.
It's a penalty all day long,
goodness
isn't it?
me.
How he just managed to just not even bother phase him, but he was literally the shirt was getting more and more stretched.
Gordon had a
Gordon's
tear in
really
his as
ripped
well.
off him, wasn't it? Yeah.
Most of like my shirts. didn't
Milan were that as well midweek.
they?
They
Yeah,
were absolutely filthy mind, weren't they?
Sheffield
Everything.
United.
Aye.
Milan. Oh yeah.
Little kicks, pulls,
Well,
shoves.
The foul for the third goal. I thought at the time it's definitely not a red card. That one looking at it, it's naughty like. The foul-
Yeah, no, I've seen it again.
You were like, oh, that's a great tackle. That is now.
Mate,
wrong with
that's
it.
what I'd want my team to do. I'd want my players to do that exact tackle.
It's
If
what
they
it's
didn't, I'd say what you're
Well,
bottling
he
it
doesn't
for.
tackle him. He just hoofs the ball and then follows straight through into the
I
man.
think there's a lot of anger in that tackle, and I think
Oh,
that's
100%.
why
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
free kick, because yes, he gets. I'm not going to say he wins the tackle. He gets to the ball
It's not a
first.
tackle at all.
He gets to the ball first and just clatters, but it's that bit that he
Not a
leaves on the
tackle.
end of it.
It's not a tackle. He just swings through the ball. He's kicking the ball clear rather than tackling.
He's making sure he gets a bit of long stuff like.
Yeah.
Okay,
That tackle-
I just, it's, for me, it's near ball.
That tackle used to be acceptable. You'll never get away with that these days.
No,
like,
listen,
never.
I'm not saying it's not maybe not a foul here, but there was a lot of people going out to red card and stuff.
Nah, I
What
didn't think it
game,
was red,
what
like-
planet are you on if I think it's a red card? Like,
To be fair, it probably
Christ.
looked worse in real time than when you saw it back. Because I mean, you've seen the reaction from the players as well. Like Trippier was straight over. Like the ref, all the players
He
are
was
rubbing,
human trip, yeah, like
pushing
Trips
and all
was
of
like,
that
wasn't
kind
he,
of
aye?
thing.
I've seen him do
Mm.
worse than that. Like, but I
Because there's so much aggression in that tackle. If there's contact made there, that's a serious injury coming there, or the chance of serious injury.
probably is. Aye,
And I think that's what the referees looked at.
He literally flips Longstaff over.
could broke his toe or something. Could have damaged his toe.
Can't you imagine?
Be alright, be alright, man.
We're not off.
door.
We're not off.
But yeah, it isn't another. That would be Trippier's third assist of the game.
I think second at that point, and the
That's
third
second,
was,
right,
was
okay.
the
Third,
yeah.
aye.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
But we've talked about
It's
that one,
Botman, and let's be honest, we've been waiting for Botman to get his first goal. It's his 50th. It is 50th, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Start
fifth game, man.
Done well for
for
50.
Newcastle, and
He's lush, like
he's the best, absolute best.
He's-
But yeah, he
Let's
gets on the
just look
score
at
sheet,
that
and
his 50.
it's
Try that again, Mark. How
it's a great header, isn't it, Steve?
Brilliant. It was weird because it wasn't like a bullet header. It was just a deft like a glance. It bounced about 3 yards out, but it's so well positioned that the keeper can't do anything about it.
It reminded us
Really good
loads
ball again, and
of,
Paul's made it like.
which I will say the documentary had a beautiful view of, the Isak header, which Mark said he didn't do very well on. Remember the one where he crossed it and he like,
Yeah.
it was the same header?
Glance, yeah.
Was it Fulham at home, maybe? I can't remember.
I know which
On the
header you mean.
documentary, they've got the best view of it. It's just behind Amanda Miadad and the Trippier crosses it. Oh, it's beautiful. Well,
Fulham
it's
was-
the
What way
Botman's goal.
scuffs it?
He was gone. I didn't do much there. Isak generated all of the
Power in his neck.
Aye. But anyway, it really reminded us of that goal because it was exactly the same
Against
place.
Wolves, apparently.
Oh,
I mean, the
sorry,
same.
Wolves. That's correct.
Fulham
Yes,
was
sorry.
where
Yes.
Wilson's at the back post and he knocks it
Yes,
over and then
apologise. Yes, Wolves. And the documentary had such an amazing view of that. It's right between Amanda and Miadad's head, and it literally happened anyway. But it reminded us of that loads. And Carragher, the idiot, was going, it wasn't a very good. Did you hear what he said about that goal? He went, well I can't do his accent. But he said,
Try.
Go on, try.
definitely not. He said, he said it wasn't a very good free kick. We've seen better. It wasn't a very good free kick, but what's the problem with the free kick? The free kick was brilliant. He whipped it in great.
Ball head goal.
And he's like, the free kick wasn't great. He said it 3 times. And I'm like, yeah, insane, you like. Insane.
I think he said a few insane things after that. Also said that nobody likes to see that scoreline.
Oh, and then he's with his pants down when it was in Liverpool United.
Yeah.
In front of Neville's face. And that.
2 of them today. Janus got done today with these comments as well.
The referee thing.
Yeah, we've seen a few.
But it was a mental comp. Anyway, great free kick. And again, back to the Burn thing. Really nice to see one of our guys on the attack.
How about no one wants to see that? I watched a video earlier. It was some young Scottish kid who's sitting in the home end. He's uploaded this video. He's showing all the goals on YouTube and all that. Like these kind of comments. He's not a Sheffield United fan out like that, but he's gone down just. There's a point at about 6.
Who does he support then?
I don't know. I think he's neutral. He vlogs going to. I'm assuming he just vlogs going to games and all that. Like that's his thing. Why not? But there's a point where he's sitting. I think it's about 6-7-0. At this point, he goes. I think even if you're a Sheffield United fan, you've got to appreciate what I think. Fucking hell, mate. Try saying that. Like I was
say that a bit louder.
I was going to say try saying that in the car. Like I thought Sheffield's not exactly. You know what I mean?
He might have been next to her that was reading the book. And that was everything. You know,
over your hearing down there for saying stuff like you can't. Oh, I'm Sheffield United fan. I'm sure you've got to appreciate when Newcastle's done that. No, they haven't. Like,
yeah.
No.
So when it got to so it's Callum Wilson that gets a 4th, and when it got to that, because that's obviously after when the second half starts, and I'm thinking, why are people still here? I'm not going to lie, and as much as I love Newcastle, if we're getting battered like that, I'm probably leaving.
Did the Arsenal game not teach you anything a few years ago?
Mate, I'm leaving there like 100%.
Shit fan.
No chance I'm staying.
Shit fan.
I was surprised that there was.
You wouldn't leave. You'd go and stand in the concourse and have a pint.
Aye, then when the 6 goes and then I'm gone.
Yeah. I think that they were just waiting to boo at the end, probably. Really.
Yeah,
probably. Wasn't anybody left to boo?
Yeah. There wasn't many at the end.
Do you think
the red and white stripes and empty seats? I thought we were watching.
So, Decker, when we go 3-0, like we're going at half time at 3-0 up.
Yep.
Do you think we're going to take the foot off the gas a little bit there?
We did. I thought we did. Like, to be fair,
right, well, only got 8 in the end. No, I don't know.
You think we took the foot off the gas in the second half?
Right,
we got 5.
Not for the entire 45 minutes, but there was a good period of time where all we did was just knock the ball around a little bit.
In the goal, aye?
In the goal? No. We just kept the ball and just played it around and like tippy-tappy it.
Aye, and it ended up in the back of the net.
Eventually, but there was a good... There was a period where we stopped with the urgency of attack. And then we made some changes as the half went on, which freshened things up.
It was 8-0 by 76 minutes, wasn't it? We scored 5 goals in 30 minutes.
Foot off the gas.
They were there, I'm telling you. If we'd have kept
up every 6
if
minutes,
we'd have kept up going at them the way that we had, we would have beat that record score.
Oh man!
It's almost like almost like they felt sorry for them and just thought, let's just stop for a bit.
At what point did we
hurt
stop?
Them too much.
At what point did we stop? If we look at the second half, right?
The bit where
I'm sure it was, but it was 8-0, and there was still about 10 or 15 minutes left.
So hang on. Right, so the second half was scored in the 56th minute, 61st, 68th, 73rd, and 87th. When did we stop?
All of their minutes between the goals.
They scored 8 goals.
I'm telling you,
8 goals in 66 minutes.
I'm gonna look at me because I even said we've taken our foot off the.
That doesn't matter what you said; it's still wrong.
We 100% did.
Well, they changed formation, didn't it?
Went to 5. Well, 3 at the back, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, with wing backs. When Liverpool and
that was a bit later on, though, wasn't it?
I'm in actual disbelief. Disbelief. What was there a question?
Do you think we would ease off a bit?
Maybe a little bit, because you always kind of think, you're so comfortable. There's no real reason. However, though, what I did like is when the 4th went in, and this is where obviously I'm polar opposite his opinion, was we literally seem to want to get more and more and more and more. Like it got to 5, 6, and we're just 1-7 or 1-8. And if we had maybe took our chances, of course, I would have scored more. But you can't have everything, can you? Jesus. But honestly, I just thought that naturally games normally when there's such a blowout early on, it never repeats itself. You don't think, but actually in this case it really did, and better actually. Sorry. So
it's after Davies came on and he just we just stroll through the middle of the park 3 times.
Yeah, so Callum Wilson gets his goal. Just 5 minutes after that, Anthony Gordon gets his, and he deserved it.
The lazy bastard.
Brilliant goal that was.
6
Really,
minutes.
really good goal.
It took him 5-6 minutes for another one.
Doing
Must have been sitting down.
lovely goal.
All nerves on
Gordon,
the toes.
It is.
It's
It's
a
a great
lovely
goal.
goal. Gordon's like there's a little touch. It also on his right foot, obviously, with a little touch. You kind of
You didn't get that from that last left winger we had, did you?
There's a little touch he takes, and then they kind of, and then again, and it's just like, it's exactly what you want your wingers to be doing.
Unbelievable.
Brilliant.
It's one of them, isn't it, where
Unbelievable
it's like you know he wants to come inside, you know what the shot's going to be, but the quality was just unbelievable.
It was Amy went out for curry yesterday afternoon, so it was me and the boys watching the game. Obviously, the lads are like 4 and 2, so I don't. And when Gordon scored, I went like, oh,
Like Santa.
basically like that. And William, bless him, he had like a cup in his hand. It looked like I pushed him. He went like. He was on my lap for the next rest of the game.
He thought Santa.
Santa's here.
Present with a cheese sandwich.
Well, I watched it. Funny enough, I watched it because I took the Benz on the stadium tour yesterday.
Oh yes,
It was excellent. It was really good. It was good time. I had a good, and then we got back. My mates were watching it, and obviously we were just shooting the ball. And even my lass, like she was watching it, she was going, "Is that 5 now? Is that 6 now?" And it was like, she went, "Who are you playing?" It's like, but it was unbelievable. That goal from Gordon, like, was. When it bounces on the deck, it just seems to add that extra bit of spin, doesn't it? When it bounces, so it's really difficult for the goalkeeper to deal with that. Like, it was a beautiful.
You know it's in the
finish.
back of the net when he hits it, though, don't you?
He
He
knows.
knows. He knows.
He'd had a sighter a little bit earlier as well, hadn't he?
It was good when Miggy's was disallowed.
Yeah,
that one was good save. That as it goes, like.
Oh, actually, what we haven't
You should have scored
mentioned.
it.
Hang on, I think we're 3-0 up at this point, and there's a penalty appeal.
Oh, it's a pen.
How is that not given?
it's never a penalty.
What?
This is weird because it's the opposite of what happened
never
last
a
week. We went to
Oh yeah, he thought it,
Gordon again when we went over. I thought they both were penalties after the penalty on Sunday.
Do you not think that's penalty? I think it's Stonewall. I think if it's 0-0, we get that.
I think
So what I'll ask you then, if he doesn't go down as dramatically, which I don't like about him in that sense, do you think it's a pen then?
I think if he doesn't react in the way that he does, VR has a better look at that. And then, but there is 100% there's contact. There's contact there. He catches him on the foot, but he then goes down ridiculously with the other leg.
It's like
the reaction where it just for me is that's why the referee straight away says no penalty. Get on with the game.
Yeah, do you know what it is? I'm not convinced. I reckon that's a penalty all day. And I think, do you know what it is? I think it might be Kev Nicol. I was watching it with Nicol a match yesterday, and his opinions are normally quite diverse.
He's got an unusual view on football.
But I'm sure it was Kev that said this, and he said, "Why is VAR not showing the clips, but not what the score of that game is?" So they're in a room and they just get fed these clips and make a decision.
So look at them in isolation. Like,
yes.
The context of that.
So if I think that's 0-0 and they've got no idea what the scoreline is, we get awarded that penalty. I think the scoreline.
They're watching the game live at the same
That's
time.
what I mean. That's what I mean. So if you take that away from them and just show them the clips, then the scoreline can't influence the decision.
Decontextualize everything.
Yes.
So you're looking at it, is that black and white? Is it a foul? Yes or no?
Yes.
Not like, well, if it's 1-0, I don't think that would cloud the thinking. Like, you'd hope not. Like,
I think it has,
human error and all that.
Honestly, the second it wasn't given in V, because I think it went out for a throw and the lad stood with the ball for a bit. Now it's going, it's pen. It's no problem.
Yeah.
It's pen. And then he just took the throw in, obviously continued. I'd said to me, mate, I was like, they've done that because it's 3-0. And I think, they shouldn't do that, but strange thing about
maybe. I thought it was a penalty. Like, I know what you mean, Mark. I think the way he goes down was a little bit disproportionate as opposed to the contact. But that's always the case. Players always go down over dramatically in order to kind of get the referee looking at it. So I think it's a penalty, like, but I know what you mean. I think I'm wrong again, but I know what you mean.
Football's all about opinions.
Hi.
Next goal is. Can you remember? Anybody?
What's the score now? Where we're at?
Mickey, wasn't it?
Mickey's goal.
Aye.
It's Mickey's goal.
This is, when we've said Newcastle played well, and they did. Newcastle played very well. This is horrible by Sheffield United.
Dave Davies, this is the first one where he just lets him walk straight past them, doesn't he?
Well, Mickey kind of plays it to Bruno, runs around the back of him, runs in a straight line.
It's just straight line, isn't it? Yeah.
And Bruno picks him out. It's a good finish, a good ball by Bruno. Nice 1-2. We had the ball for a good minute or two, just pass it around before this point, which I thought was a bit of a shame because they should be getting at them. I think Newcastle.
Oh, this tippy-tappy business.
I saw someone, might be NUFC, on Twitter sharing the video. Like a minute and a half, the build up for this goal starts and it goes back to Pope and goes right around the houses and that. But it's a really good finish. It's quite a clinical one from Miggy, which he's not really associated with.
It's a good finish.
Brilliant finish, yeah.
It's a really good finish, and it's a lovely one to Bruno. But by Christ, if we're conceding that, yeah,
Oh,
hopping mad.
Yeah.
I mean, we have conceded that goal a few times in the past.
I I suppose the game stretched and all the rest of it, and way ahead. I just love seeing Bruno in that area of the field because I thought Bruno had stages in the second half where it was the Bruno
Back to the best one.
Oh, aye, 100%.
I thought last weekend as well. And it's hard not to make that kind of conclusion that it's because Longstaff's back as opposed to Tonali. And I'm not going to kind of
I get it, mate.
try and fuel that fire because I don't necessarily think that's right. But I think you will have got the best out of Bruno in the last 10 days or so.
We're back to the way of thinking of that. If Bruno has a good game, then everybody has a good game.
I think he elevates.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but it's easy to have a good game in that game, isn't it? And I'm not knocking Bruno there. I'm saying, like, you could put anybody in there and they'd look brilliant in that midfield because they were, like I said, Davies was horrendous.
I would like to see the in the multiverse Jeff Hendrick in the middle of that midfield to see what.
Well, Jeff Hendrick would have been Davies, wouldn't he? That we've seen that before.
Hendrick wasn't a bad player. I just didn't do it for us. I thought he was all right before we come.
But no, he did look very, very good.
But there was I think Matty said it as well because it was a time sort of certain moments in the first half I still had them still doesn't look quite right, but more so in the second half. And I know we're phoning up by this stage, but he did then really start. And I'm not interested in about where it was lovely when he megged that lad in the middle of the pitch, and even now went but he lost it though after that. I wasn't bothered about that stuff. I was just about how he was carrying the ball forward and then trying to play the right, forward-thinking passes. But I thought they were brilliant.
I think he did. He played the most forward passes out of. I'm sure I saw that earlier on today. Might be in our group actually.
Yeah. It was just much more like the old Bruno, the Bruno that we need, right? That we want to see.
There's a great shout from Tom Lynch that says that we're saying that Bruno elevates everybody else, but who elevates Bruno? And it's Longstaff.
It does seem as though we're getting the most out of Bruno with Longstaff in there. At the moment, not saying that will be the case forevermore, but
proofs in the pudding, really.
Yeah, correlation, implying and causation, and all that.
Bruno gets his assist, closely followed, just for you, Mark. 5 minutes later, gets his goal.
Took the foot off the gas for that 5 minutes, though, didn't it?
Again, it's on their side of the fence.
Shocking defending, absolutely shocking.
Well, he's got the freedom, hasn't he? I mean, Longstaff shanks his chance, but Bruno gets a chance.
No, it's deflection.
Like it was like Diarme against Brighton that time.
Nice finish,
it's a great finish.
Really nice finish.
Really good finish.
Really nice finish. Yeah, and again, he's in that area. You know what I mean? And that's what I want to see him doing. What he did when he first came, of getting in that box and. Maybe he thinks because, well, I suppose again we're 5-6 up at that point, but maybe he's thinking I can venture forward more because Longstaff will be there to cover for us. Do you know what I mean? But maybe by that stage of the game, it's like, how well, lads,
how many gave up?
Exactly.
Then,
it doesn't matter anymore.
He's not worrying about what's happening behind him. That's why he could be the furthest forward player and find yourself into those positions.
I agree.
It was a weird one because he didn't seem to celebrate. Then he stuck a ball up his shirt, did the baby thing, and then said, "I'm fucking staying."
I'm fucking staying.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's like that was like a second thought, wasn't it? Because he was walking away. Actually,
I mean, while I've got you.
Well, it didn't show it on because obviously they were playing the replay of the goal, but now after seeing the clip,
it's from
you can hear it.
Oh, can you?
Like you can hear when he's like when they're replaying the goal through.
Oh, yeah.
You can hear the crowd go up.
Oh, so you can't actually hear him.
And then you hear Carragher go, and he's now playing up to the crowd. Like in the comment, that's obviously the moment where he's.
I never knew he was going. To be honest with you, strange one.
I think it's just about his.
Well, it's all.
I know.
I'm just being buyout clause and stuff, isn't it?
I'm just being very awesome. But lastly, do you think though that the contract with it now being sorted is? I'm not saying inclining that it's maybe this performance, but do you think that for him it'll make his performances better because that's been sorted and it's sorted and done?
He did the opposite, Maxi, didn't he? He went to shit after he signed his.
Yeah,
for a few weeks.
Careful.
You would hope that wouldn't have an impact, wouldn't you?
No, I do. I'm not. I'm just saying a question. Some players maybe in their minds maybe aren't at their sort of calmest and the confidence because the contract's not sorted. And now that it is, he might think, right, mint. Now I'm here. While we're on that subject, I might come to a question. I do apologise, but while it's in my head, any of you bothered about the 100 million being in there? Are you surprised as everybody's closing there?
Not the slightest bit.
Not surprised, no.
Nah. I think you expect that with these top players now.
Cool.
Standard in it, have a release clause in there. It's protecting the player and the club, so that if it does push comes to shove, that you've got some protection that you're going to receive a decent fee for it.
And the rumours, a lot of people are saying 100 million, but it's apparently
In excess
over
of
100 million. So God knows what that could be.
Well, that's it. Could be 105 million. It could be 150, 190 million. It's
101, 102, 103. £103.50.
Let's go to, if you're Arsenal.
it'd be great if it was like one of them random
107.
We'll stick a quid on it.
127.369 million.
So the last goal, and Isaac doing what Isaac does best and sending people to the shops.
He's still going.
He's
I want to saw Campbell against
Campbell,
Croatia. He's
sent
still
him back at 2-0, did he?
he's in Rotherham now, just still sliding, can't stop.
Do you know what ran through my head at that time, and particularly now, see like when you see the goal getting replayed. Remember went through that a phase of that video where it was just somebody like doing something that's like it was the music, and it would keep going and going and going. That's all I could see.
That's been in my head since then as well, actually.
It was a lovely finish, wasn't it? Very calm again.
It was exactly the kind of thing he does, or certainly last season did quite a bit against Villa.
Beautiful.
Really, really good finish. I'm glad as well because it'd been a little. I felt like he'd been a bit isolated in the games being played, and we hadn't had the best out of him. But yeah, it was a proper.
Eddie,
He's been quiet up to that point as well.
Yeah, we had.
He took a foot off gas. Eddie mentioned this as well, saying that it was good to get Alex on the score sheet as well.
Yeah.
So it's obviously been something which has been discussed behind the scenes as well. Like Bessie said, the last couple of games, he kind of has been isolated where he's had to fight to get the ball anywhere near him.
Yeah,
it's been tough, right? We haven't been playing well. Like I can't deny that. I mean, the Brentford game 4-1 we didn't play well. You know, it wasn't the Newcastle that we know, right? And obviously we know about Brighton was horrendous. And it is nice. I'd love how it was 8 different scorers as well, because you're throwing it around confidence around the team. It's unbelievable that to get to everyone to have 8 different scorers is incredible. Really amazing.
It's a weird one though.
Record breaking.
I was looking at this thing was the goals, the games in which we've scored more than 5 goals away from home. West Ham last season was one, and again that one they hit the post early on. We didn't start that well, and then we got the goal, and all of a sudden they started making mistakes. We were capitalising. It was very similar yesterday, but just that bit more. I thought.
Yeah. If anybody does have any questions, fire them our way, and we'll go through as many as possible. Just like the video while you're there as well. Let's just jump back a few days as well, and let's go back to the Champions League, Mark.
Every meal later.
let's go back to the Champions League game. A lot of fans weren't too happy with Newcastle's performance, and
They never are, man.
it was a good performance. First game back in the Champions League, and I know like how many times we're going to say that, but we're new to this competition, and it was a decent team performance.
I don't know if it was a good performance. It was a good result.
Okay.
We did what we needed to do, but I think what was good is that there was a lot of tenacity in the team, a lot of defending like dogs and just throwing themselves in front of balls and stuff like that. But it was hard going at times, but we stuck together really, really well. The back four were just, like, as I say, just blocking everything, chucking the bodies on the line, giving absolutely everything to keep them out. But, on another day, Milan could have had a boatload. But
Leo had 2. The header in the second half, that was a bit harder, but that one in the first half when he's taking off the team on and trying to backheel it. I can't imagine how irritated I'd be watching that. But then you say that, I mean, when they had that first kind of flurry of chances, 10, 15 minutes in, it came from a mistake. I think Dan Burn put a loose ball back. Yeah. And then they had 2 or 3 shots on the one that Nick Pope. See if these chefs.
He was immense.
Pope was excellent.
He was immense.
Chebs or Chess?
A bit of both, actually, I think. Chebs on me, Chess with an athlete like Nicholas. But then, like, a few times, I think it might even have been the one where Leo backheeled it. Shea just tries to slide an interception in about 35, totally misses it, and he's on the deck and he's out of the game. And it's like, well, defensively, whether that good or whether bailed out by Pope. But even then, the saves Pope makes, if any of those go in, I think we should do better with that.
Well, this is where I said in the chat. I think Matty disagreed. But like I had said that we were lucky, right? We got to half time and we were lucky. But in the previous statement, I had said that what you've just said there about Pope, that really every save he made, he should make. Now, what I meant by lucky is their finishing wasn't great. That's what I was meaning.
It was awful.
Because there's certain moments in that the keeper shouldn't have a chance to save it. But their finishing was poor, that Pope was able to save them. But still, Pope was excellent, though, on that night.
In mitigation, Olivier Giroud had England on toast during the World Cup quarter-final about a year ago. Didn't get a kick. Didn't get a kick against Botman. And Shea. He was in Botman's pocket for 90 minutes.
Botman is unbelievable.
He did next to nothing. And again, that's when you say and Milan should
Tried
have
an
done better.
overhead kick.
Milan should have done better with the chances that they had. But at the same time, if you snuff out their main striking threat, which they did, then you give yourself a better chance. So I think in that regard, I'd say it is a good performance. I was a bit alarmed with how many chances we let them have.
28, if I remember, or something ridiculous.
It was a huge amount.
There's I can only be honest, right? I can only be honest. There's no way that before the game did I think we would have one shot on target and that would come in the last minute.
Yeah.
There's just no way that I thought that would be the case. I honestly thought we'd be able to impose myself.
Imagine if that had went.
Did you think that
would be
Nick?
amazing.
Imagine if
What
it would
noise
have
did you
been.
make? 'Cause I've never heard that noise out.
Oh, I thought he was going to. Well, I honestly thought he was going to score like because
Yeah.
it opened up for him so well.
Yeah. It's a good save in the end.
Yeah. But
Some
it's
people as well.
it's I'm with Mark. I think the point is absolutely tremendous. Like
Massive point. Brilliant point.
absolutely
Yeah.
huge
Oh
point.
yeah, your first game in Milan apparently was stiflingly hot. So by the end of the game, you could see the one knackered Isaac was just dead in his feet. He should probably come off earlier for me, but that's by the by. Bruno looked knackered towards the end. Loads of them did just look absolutely beat. Your first game, the occasion, Jacob Murphy. I want to mention Jacob Murphy. Just even before the game, you know where I'm going to go with this. The anthem playing.
Yeah.
It looks like he's kind of holding back tears a little bit because he kind of takes a deep breath and like he's out there moving with this.
Yeah.
Well, you would be though, wouldn't you?
As a fan, him and Josh, obviously like Newcastle fans growing up and stuff. And at the end when they interviewed Byrne I think it was Byrne and Longstaff that they interviewed, and they're both, Blythe and Whitley Bay, they're local lads, these boys, and that's it. I don't know how many Champions League teams would have so many local lads or fans in there.
Yeah, that's very true.
Milan used to have one.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah,
But no, it was I think a little bit lucky. Wasn't a wonderful performance, but elements of it were quite heartening and mitigating factors. I say, your first game in as overwhelming a tournament as Champions League would be for them in that heat in the San Siro. Their fans were unbelievable as well, from what I heard. See what they do at St James's Park in December.
Yeah. The effort and commitment that every single one of those players put in for me was unbelievable. You kind of felt the heart and desire there to try and get something out of that game, albeit a point, but that point is
crucial,
huge.
man. Could be crucial. That point, really good.
I can't wait to score a goal.
Let's go through some of the questions and comments. Josh Stockton is back. Hi, Josh. He just sent in a donation. It's good to see you back, Josh. He says, "Hi lads, hope you're all well. Great win yesterday. Obviously using great as in with the number 8 in there. Seen that a lot today. It says I'm a bit late to apologise if this has already been asked and talked about. Are we the first team to beat both Sheffield clubs 8-0? Side note, Gordon was outstanding.
I believe we are.
Well, must be. Surely.
I think we are.
Yeah,
certainly in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Isn't it the contrast between the last trip to Bramall Lane as well, where Fraser got sent off and got beat 1-0?
It's the first win of the season.
And it was like January or something. They had obviously going down that year, and we were awful. We deserved to get beat up, we were just rotten. I think Callum Wilson, I was reading a thing this morning where Wilson in a previous interview had said that was a bit of a wake-up call for him. And Newcastle think we're really not very good here at the minute. And then obviously since then things have changed. But just the fact that was that, and this one now is the one that kind of, I'm not going to say it's kickstarted our season because it was yesterday, and there's a lot of football still to go. So it could be it's a freak result. It might not be a freak. It's a freak score. It might not be a freak result, but it's a freak scoreline. You know what I mean? So we'll see what it does. But it can only thought be positive to get the confidence of the lads back. And
But we have been Jekyll and Hyde this season. You look at the first game of the season against Villa.
Yeah.
We played like that. We were brilliant. We swept them away, scoring goals, and then it's just been difficult. And I know we've played some good teams in that time. That's one thing to keep hold of. So
really hard start.
So
and we've got a point more now, 2 points more now than we had this point last season.
I think Burnley on Saturday is a good chance to keep this run going, because the way that they've been playing, they've been trying to play football, being very open, that if we're on our game like we were last night, then you could potentially see it again. It's, whether we'll get there.
I just hope they try this time.
Plus, we've got Man City in between that as well. Haven't we? We've got that Wednesday night, haven't we?
Yeah, I think Burnley, I was actually impressed with them against Man United. I know they didn't win the game, but get nothing from it, but they are way too open. And I think I've said this so many times. If there's any team that wants to come and try and have a go at like that, we can really exploit them. Like we
said, if we're on with game, we can't hurt teams.
So
even Guardiola said that. If you try and play Newcastle like that, then they'll knock you.
Yeah, 100%.
Sticking with obviously Champions League chat, there is a comment that came in from our very own Joe. Hi, Joe. He says, what do you think of the Champions League shirt and font? Personally, I'm a fan. Reminds me of the 90s font. Is it like the Keegan X font?
It's a bit like the Adidas one between 95 and 97,
Mm.
the Granda colour one. It's not quite the same. It's a bit narrower, and obviously it's red. But yeah, it's
Just not like it.
that notwithstanding, it's identical. No, I think it's all right. Looks quite smart. I don't hate having the white back on the shirt either. to be honest with you.
I didn't mind it. No.
Absolutely fine.
Okay.
I would have liked the Champions League badge to be there instead of the Newcastle badge on the numbers, because at the bottom of the number it has our
I
badge.
don't know if they can do that with licensing, can they? It will be
Probably not.
copyright.
But I would have
infringement,
liked to have had the Champions League logo as that little sticker.
Yeah,
but
I
that
get
has
it.
been picky.
The players' names look very small, like squashed together.
Squashed together,
on the
yeah.
shirt.
Do you not think that's because of the new Premier League names and number sets?
They're
Because
large,
obviously
aren't
they've
they?
made them a lot bigger this
Maybe.
season. So is it that they're just
Possibly,
looking smaller?
Yeah, you might have a shout there. Yeah, but yeah, I thought it was very 80s.
I think the white back or the white kind of block with the red numbers is what we had in the 80s and the early 90s. So I suppose
It reminds me of
harks
like
back a
Kabay and Bar and where we had the half bit of the black, the white back as well.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I see what you're
The,
saying.
Boot brand,
the
all
UEFA
that
Cup
time as
shirt.
well.
well, that would have been
Virgin
good.
Money.
Europa game,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Europa League.
Yeah.
It reminds us. You just won't remember it all, but I had a Milan top with Beckham on the back, and it was the white away one,
I know the one you mean.
and it was almost identical from the back
Yeah.
in terms of the
It's really
because of
similar.
that white in the red font, you know. So but yeah, it was fine. That's all right.
They're not
like
going
it.
to sell it though, apparently, with the white back on it.
It's a shame that it's a shame that because I
Oh, they're
think
not.
Nah,
Nah.
I think it might be Adam Pearson who put a thing on to say it because obviously now he's
And
like,
Adam
shirts.
would know.
It's either Adam P that's going to know a Decker, and
Oh,
the club shop. It's going to be one of them.
Have you ever seen him in a club shop? Tech? It must be
I-
like,
do you know what it is?
ships in the night.
I actually
You saw him
have-
last week, though, didn't you?
Not in the club shop, no.
Have you got Adam
He was
P?
outside the club shop.
Yes, he was
Going into
outside.
it.
Yes,
I was
that's
going
right.
to say, have you ever been in the same room together?
Oh, he's actually security for the
I
club shop.
went
You
to
two.
the
do a shift
documentary
each.
thing.
Oh yeah,
with Stevie and that.
yeah.
I met him then.
But no, I think he said that I'm not going to do the white backed shirt. So,
Do you know what it is? Well, those will be collector's item though.
oh,
Max
I
Worn ones.
it'll be on DH
Do you shit? Be on there.
Yeah,
Might
Max
have a look,
Worn
yeah.
ones will go for a fortune in years to
Actually, I'll
come.
have a look at that as soon as I finish. Yeah,
That's what I'm going to do.
best. A good idea. Though.
Share delivery, yeah. Get them get them
Once again, we'll stick with Champions League, and this one is from Daryl. That says, "Would you rather play PSG with Mbappe or without?"
without.
Yeah, without.
I'd
I would,
rather-
love to see him play, just not against Newcastle if we can
I'm
avoid
a
that.
bit 50-50 on it, like, if I'm honest.
I get why people want to see it happen, but I want points and take on their best player out of the team.
Yeah, I want to beat him.
Yeah.
I'm glad Messi's not there. I'm glad Neymar's not there.
Mhm.
I want get him beat.
No, I totally see the point. I mean, I remember going and seeing Del Piero playing at St James's Park.
Yeah.
One of the greatest performances I've ever seen from an opposition, and it was unreal to see. But having him not in the team definitely makes things better for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm all for it. That's why I was saying even in the bloody draw, give me the worst teams possible. We've got more chance of getting through.
I love the draw, me, like, but I it doesn't bother me seeing Mbappe play for France and doing this. Sorry, play for PSG.
See, yeah, I think like the Barcelona, like Figo was there, Enrique.
Yeah.
I always remember the 5-0.
Clivert was unreal when he.
And I'm not. This is not Champions League, but I remember the 5-0 Man United. I remember it was yesterday, and you had Cantona on there, you had Beckham. You know, you had their team,
Well,
right? It
superstars
wasn't the
as well.
reserves, like, you know what I mean. And that's, I don't know. Listen, at the end of the day, right? Well, it is better that he's not playing. Absolutely. I'm just being a bit silly in one sense. I'd love to be on and beat them 3-0 as well. Do you know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Oh, if he plays him, I beat them. then I'll take it. Like, but I think
I get what you're saying, though. Absolutely.
Yeah, I want all the best players not to play against me. I'm just being selfish now. I want out of this group. That's
Yeah.
the best way to do it.
Exactly.
Best way to do it. Do you think it takes, like I said, do you think it takes a little bit of that satisfaction if we were to get the 3 points?
No, nobody will remember if we beat PSG. They'll not go, oh yeah, but he wasn't playing, was he? It would have been a different story if Mbappe was in the team.
Yeah, we won.
Nobody
those
will
won't,
remember that. It'll be
Farmers. Beat the
Newcastle
Farmers.
beat
Farmers,
PSG.
that's still a pretty decent side without him. In fairness, like,
And do you know what is? Well, all these rumors probably will still see him play.
They don't. Nobody knows yet. He got injured, but everyone's
He's
saying,
probably faking it because he doesn't want to come to Newcastle because it's cold.
I hope he hasn't hurt his toe.
oh god,
yeah, for months.
Yeah, that's season's over.
Right, let's see if there's any more questions. There is one from Fish and Rods that says, if Gordon has improved this much in just 6 months, perhaps we should give Tonali the same time. Is there any fans saying Tonali isn't any good?
I don't think so. I think there's questions over whether or not he works well with Bruno in the middle and if he knows exactly what we need.
Go on, keep going. Go on.
If he wants Isaac at the back, and
Yeah,
I don't want
Isaac
that.
at the
I don't want
back.
that at all. I don't think there's any question over his quality. I think it's just a bit of a settling in thing as well. I think he's a young lad who's come from Milan, Newcastle. He said he's found the language thing a bit difficult, and he's kind of a bit of settling in time. But now I've got no. Eddie Howe's when we signed Joe Linton, I remember they said they'd watched him 24 times, and then they didn't know how to play him. Like they didn't. Well, obviously, it was under Steve Bruce, it was a different setup and all that. But they watched him play for.
But that's even a rumor this time around.
Well, I know,
With
but
Tonali?
we
We didn't want to sign him. They went. Who was it? They went to try and sign somebody else.
Milton Nunes.
Milton Nunes.
Yeah, that was the one. It was something, wasn't it? Who signed the wrong bloke.
Yeah, but at the same point though, at the
Hamilton
same
was
point, I'm not wanting my scouting team to have one person on the list. So people are complaining, well, didn't want him, why had someone else ahead of him? The list probably got 400 people on it, man. Do you know what I mean? But if number one's not there, or we'll go to number two. I don't want them to have one person and then go, well, there's Napier, he's not coming, so I'm not going for
But
anybody
no,
else.
the rumours
That's
were they went
ridiculous.
to Milan. I can't remember who it was now, but they went to Milan to try and sign another player. And while they were there, they said, "Oh, by the way, Tonali's available," which then suddenly they made them go, "Oh, well, hold on, because they didn't expect him to be available."
Bollocks.
And they then changed the.
I don't think they would have signed him without doing that due diligence.
Well, they don't. I mean, it's not like they needed to do.
No way.
You can see everybody knows that he's a very, very good player. It's just
Barella,
exactly
people are
what you're saying at the minute is he just needs to adapt to the game, adjust to the pace of the Premier League, playing with brand new players, different system, different language. He's eating in Weatherspoons every night. He needs a little bit of time.
He's down Scoopalicious in the mornings for them.
I did think, what I will say is, I think, I'm not sure that Howe knows exactly where to play him either yet, because when he's been playing the right of the three, and then Milani played in the left of the three, which surprised me. So I'm thinking, what side do you play on? Like, I was surprised at that, I have to say. And I thought Milan was a tough game for him, like, and I didn't really think, well, I didn't do much at all, did I really going forward? But I
don't know. I thought he started off very well against them.
I thought it passed him by a little bit.
Milan, he was chasing, everything was going through him. He was all over the place. Obviously, he wants to make an impression in the game. I thought he started very, very well. And then as Milan then started to take control, he then did become a little bit.
I think everybody did.
I'd love to be in a situation that we were lucky enough for Bruno when he came, where we went on that run of 9 games, 10 games, and we didn't have to play Bruno. We didn't have to. And I would love that to be the case here. And then, you know what I mean? There's not as much pressure on him. Does that make sense?
Well,
And
I think
he
that
can just come in and
that takes a nice opportunity to see what we're going to expect the team sheet to be against Man City in the cup, because there's going to be a lot of
He'll
changes.
play on Wednesday night. 100%
Yeah, so if
Tonali, do you reckon?
yeah,
there will be a match preview going out, which is getting recorded tonight, so I don't want to take too much away from what they're doing. But if we just get our opinions, do you think it's going to be every single position changes?
No.
Do you not think?
not every single position.
Goalkeeper, 100% that's changing.
Okay.
I think
Dubravka.
you see Dubravka.
Well, he didn't play Dubravka.
I think you see Dubravka.
he was on the bench, wasn't he?
No, he wasn't on the bench, which makes me think, they're looking to get him away in January.
Do you reckon was he on the bench at the weekend?
Yes,
He was,
Not against Milan.
not against Milan.
So don't want to be
He's
cup
not
tied.
cup tied. That's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Well, listen, first of all,
Either way, it's going to change.
I'm absolutely praying that we'll see the two fullbacks get some minutes
Yeah.
Livermore Hall.
in Hall. Yeah, and this isn't because I'm on a Burn train here and that I want Burn. I'm just saying,
Lascelles could come in for share.
yes, the cells will come in. That's yeah. Burn might move centre half, you know. But anyway, I think what's going to be interesting, obviously, Bruno ain't going to play. That's guaranteed. And Tonali, I think, will play where Bruno plays now. I think personally, and that's going to be interesting.
Tonali, Longstaff, Anderson, or because obviously,
possibly.
with Joe Linton and Willock both being out, we'll lose quite a bit of
Yeah,
a few options gone in the
Tonali,
midfield.
Longstaff,
So I think
Anderson.
I'd expect Murphy to come in.
so. Pep's apparently already said that it's not going to be his strongest side going
That's
out.
right. Yeah, he said that.
Would you be shocked to see someone like Miley come in?
Wouldn't expect him to start.
I don't think. Yeah,
No, you know what it is? Just saying about centre midfield and how Longstaff, Joe Linton and Willock being out might change. I wouldn't be surprised if Miley played at some point. I don't know if he'd start.
I think he'll be on the bench.
I think he might get half an hour's worth or something like that because
I think
he likes him, doesn't he?
I think it will be a strong team. I think you'll probably see Miggy start.
Yeah, I think so. And obviously Barnes,
Put Murphy on the left.
I think Barnes would have started, to be fair, maybe. But given the
No,
situation,
I think Gordon would have started.
apologise.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Sorry, yes, it would have been that way, but with that, what happened? So you probably will see Murphy,
and Miggy maybe.
and Miggy.
Up
probably.
top.
Possibility. Isaac.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
There's no way Callum Wilson.
So I honestly think you'll probably see 9-10 changes.
And that'll disjoint with, it's not going to be
100%,
good on the
yeah.
eye. It's going to be tough.
It's not going to be free flow.
And that's why I don't know whether he will change that many.
I think Anderson will keep his spot.
Anderson,
Longstaff maybe. I think that'll be it.
The tough one, isn't it? You'd never know because if you haven't got the final last season, you think you might want another crack at it because it'd be to get one step further. But then with the Champions League to think of now and league form, for all, as I say, we're better off now than we were at this point last season.
So like you say, you've
question marks over
within the next 7 days from that City game. You've got Burnley at home, then you've got PSG.
You've got 3 games a week from now until Christmas, practically.
Pretty much, yeah.
There has to be big changes.
It's got to be huge changes.
Yeah, there does, yeah. But you know what it is? They're still exciting in one way, and I'm, to see the 2 new fullbacks on there to get some minutes. You're going to see Tonali on there. Like that's all right for me. Like that's all right for me. And I think
once again, like Pepe is saying, that's not going to be the strongest team apparently, but even their second string is going to be a strong team.
They were just a different animal.
Did you call him Pepe?
Did
I call him Pepe?
I thought you did.
Pepe Reina then.
I was like Pepe. And I'm looking at you and you're going
Pepe.
Sorry, Pep.
Pepe.
But yeah, it's going to be a tough ask. It really is.
Oh,
it's the best team in the world.
My worry is that I finish work at 7 o'clock and I have to get to St. James's Park and using the new ticketing system before kickoff.
Yeah, I'm going to be getting there sharp. Like
I'm not.
I'm not.
So do you know what it is? It's the fact that there's issues with home Premier League games, which is the majority of season ticket holders.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a new wave of fans coming into that ground for the first time.
Well, do
you think? I'm not sure. Like,
well, you're not going.
But
what? There'll be.
I reckon there's
98%
of season ticket holders
very specific
have renewed and taken that cup scheme ticket. Like,
well, I think everybody's opted into it in fear that they won't get to the final. If we get to the final, and because they haven't purchased the tickets, and that'll pass it on to somebody.
You're not going to miss Man City at home through choice, though, are you?
Yeah.
Why?
In a cup, thousands of people that'll pass on that. Absolutely thousands.
I didn't go to Man City home last season. The 3-3, and I forget why now.
Especially if you look at, you got Burnley on Saturday and you got PSG on Wednesday. People will probably skip this one and pass it on to somebody else.
Oh, why would you?
Well, just in our seats, there's 4 of us and the 2 of us not going.
I'm in bloody London. I'd be there if I wasn't away.
Not going. I think it's. Well, actually, Dagger, guess who you might see?
Who?
Oscar Bob.
Oscar Bob, I might.
I'd be furious if Oscar Bob plays. I don't get to see Oscar Bob in the flesh.
Bob, Jesus. I tell you, the some player they've got on the left-hand side, I forgot his name now.
Grealish?
No, man, no.
Young lad.
He's like Maxi 2.0, like, I'm telling you. Someone will say, I mean, Google it. The lad on the left-hand side, like, danger, like, no, he looks really good, really good. He came and scored against West Ham, man. Scored a lovely goal, came inside and scored. He looks, someone will mention straight away in the comments, much faster than I am.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
them could put 7-8 names on there that you're unsure about, and they're going to be quality, like, so. But with this lad on the left-hand side, especially looks fancy.
People are saying Doggo?
That's him. That's him.
That's him.
Yeah. Very, very tricky pace.
No.
Looks great. Watch his goal against West Ham. It's just mint. Like everything I like in a player.
Anything else that you 3 want to mention before we end this one? It's been a good week, hasn't it?
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Aye.
We've scored 8 goals in one game, and Chelsea's
I was thinking
2 clean sheets
earlier on, and I can't remember it.
3.
3
Brentford.
Three clean sheets.
We've scored 8 goals in one game, and Chelsea have only scored 5 all season. There's one for you. £5 billion worth.
They haven't scored a single one in September.
That's it. Goal of the month's coming from the under-23s.
Amazing.
We'll probably have a few from that game just for goal of the month.
Gordon's
was a lovely one. You know which one I really, really did like actually applaud and go, wow, was that the lovely the move for Wilson's? You know, the
I love that. That's my favorite goal of the day. That was
just beautiful, wasn't it? Like absolutely perfect football. That was like perfect football.
Thanks everybody who has joined us live tonight. Thanks everybody who has interacted, sent in comments, and liked the video as well. if you want to become a subscriber, do that. It costs you absolutely nothing to do it. If you want to give a bit back, you can become a member. It is just $2.99 a month, and you get access to new videos, early access to some videos, and access to the Telegram group as well. Anything else? Football content awards as well. We'll be nominated that. We're in the finals of that as well. And yeah, just vote for you on that as well if you want. You don't have to.
But do though.
Yeah, you don't have to, but yeah. Yeah, thanks everybody. We'll see you later on. Digger, say the words and sign what out, man.
Well, won you now. Get in.